Hello, I'm Dr. Mitch Harlan, and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. This week's episode features Micah and Diana LaCerte, creators of HitchFit. From living in the attic to the #1 online personal training system in the world. Listen to their personal stories that will literally make you fall in love with them and want to share in their passion of change. Hello, I'm Dr. Mitch Harlan, and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. I'm here today with Micah and Diana LaCerte, owners of HitchFit. Hello, guys.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
This is going to be awesome. I want to start out this podcast, though, first thing, knowing that I did not pay you guys to come on the show, nor did you pay me. Is that correct?
That is correct.
One of the things I want to do with this podcast is I want to get into HitchFit first. And the reason is because, man, so many people, our attention spans are low. We don't have time in the world. I want to get into that first, but I want to implore people to listen to this entire podcast. But your personal stories are just absolutely amazing. And so I want everybody to listen to this one all the way through because I think it really shows what it is. Because honestly, looking at you guys, a little too much perfection going on there, and they need to hear the story.
Awesome. We're excited to tell that story.
Well, let's get into HitchFit, but one thing I want to tell everybody is you started in an attic.
We did start in an attic, so it was very humbling beginnings.
It doesn't look like you're in an attic now.
No, we are in our dream home now. We used to drive by this house when we lived in the attic, and I was like, babe, one day I'm going to buy us that house. And it came true in 2014. So 2014, yep. So it was just, it's been an amazing journey. A lot of people see success and don't realize that there were a lot of failures during that time too, a lot of setbacks and barriers. But without that, we wouldn't have grown to, I think, the place we are today.
Well, that's fitness and health in general, right? You're gonna be working out. You're gonna have an injury. You're gonna have something's gonna set you back, right? Because the stories parallel one another.
Yep,
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, I want to jump right into it because I am motivated to have every single listener do this program. I'm committing today, so we're gonna follow this back up, and I better look that good in a tank top.
You're not going to own clothes, brother.
My teeth won't be that white, but I'm going to look like that in a tank top.
That's right.
Give me HitchFit, man. Give me the pitch.
When we started HitchFit in 2009, we had met. We were both doing a lot of similar things within the fitness industry, but we just wanted to do something that was different. We had both worked in corporate environments where it was all about sell, sell, sell. And we would have clients and it was never about if they were making progress. It was always just about selling a session. How many sessions did you sell? And it drove me nuts, having gone through my own personal transformation, because I wanted people to experience what I had too. So when we met, we were like, well, let's do something different that nobody else is doing. And let's actually put the focus first on the client and put the focus first on success. Because if we can transform one person, I guarantee 10 of their friends are going to want to come to us. So we built a system that was not retention based, even though in every single personal training, teach you how to be a trainer system, they teach retention. They teach arguments of what to say to people to convince them to sign up, even if they're not ready and they're not ready to, do the things they're going to need to do. So we were like, hey, let's just put it out there that we want people who are really ready, and when they're ready, come to us. They're going to have an incredible transformation, and it's going to have a ripple effect into everything else in their life. And then I think 10 of their friends will come and want to train with us. So we were always just like, hey, we'll work with people 12 to 16 weeks. They can work with us longer if they want, if they have bigger goals, but let's not try to just retain them. Let's really focus on teaching them something that they feel like they're empowered to do on their own too. So that was kind of the foundation.
When we went through our own transformations, you look back at that period of time, and why was it that we started? We started because we wanted to look better. We wanted to feel better. We wanted to wake up and have tons of energy. We wanted to increase our confidence. We wanted to wear those skinny jeans. She wanted to. I didn't want to wear skinny jeans. But, that we once fit in. I wanted to go to the beach and feel confident about what my body looked like. Early on, I was very motivated by, eventually, landing that really beautiful woman. but it was also really just about a really self-empowering thing of being able to wake up and just have control of my life, not only from the standpoint of, you know, just the mental side, but the spiritual side, the physical side, working all those things in line to then help myself become the best version of myself. Once I captured that and realized, I was like, wow, like, I wonder if anybody even feels like the way that I feel right now. Well, I'm going to do everything that I can. We're going to do everything that we can to help replicate that for other people in their lives. And so essentially that's how HitchFit was created. You know, you're looking at 11 years later and 425,000 pounds of fat loss, 78 countries, and still as motivated, if not more motivated, to meet new people every single day and encourage them to be the best version of them.
It was so it was February of 2009 when we actually launched the online personal training system before we had our first brick and mortar gyms. And we were, like you said, we were living in the attic. When I met Micah, he was like, "Hey, I live in an attic. You want to move to Kansas City?" Sure. That sounds awesome.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. You guys weren't born perfect, and that's kind of the personal side of that story I want to get to. Because that, you know, that's one of those things where people perhaps look at you and be like, oh man, they were just genetically gifted. That's an interesting story, and I want to get to that. The thing I want to talk about HitchFit is how can anyone do it? This 12-week transformation, obviously the before and afters that you guys have all over your website. I mean, these are amazing. I do want to tell you, I did a program once before, way back in the day. And I know that if you work at these things, you do get those results. Your website, though, I went through everything. I checked out the fitness competitor to the over 40, over 50 now for me. Talk about who can do this program, what successes you've seen. Tell me all about that.
Well, we work with people of all ages, all fitness levels, all just different backgrounds. And really the number one thing that they have to have is just a readiness and a willingness to make the changes. With HitchFit, we customize everything that's done through HitchFit. We don't have automated systems. It's not a computer spitting stuff out for you. It's literally one of us that you are working directly with. We are who the clients communicate with directly. So having kept it so customized allows us to, if someone, I've had clients that had one leg, you know, I've had clients, you know, so, okay, we customize around one leg. You know, I've had clients that are complete beginner, morbidly obese, can barely move. So we start with where we're at and then we progress from there. And then we've also had competitors who are starting in a really good place and then trying to get to a great place. So obviously we're going to have much more challenging workouts and much more challenging system for them. So it's the customization is why we can work with so many different people, you know, whether they're in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, whether they only have a few little weights at home or if they have access to a gym, whether they can barely walk or, you know, I've had people with lots of injuries. So our focus is always, let's do the things that we can. Let's not stress about the things that we can't. And let's just work day by day, choice by choice on the transformation. Mm-hmm. So that's why we say, really, we can work with anybody as long as they have the willingness to do the things that they can do, then we can help them.
I want to throw this out at you guys. You know, I'm a doctor. I studied nutrition, you know, obviously when we were in school. And here's what I found. I enjoy working out too. I end up finding out that, you know, I still work with the 1988 Arnold type of workouts. I know science has just gone way by. I even feel guilty sometimes because, you know, a patient will ask me something about that and I'll be like, you know, I'll give them probably the version I heard in the 90s. But you can go online, you can Google this stuff, and then what you kind of do is just get overwhelmed. And the thing that I saw about your program is you do that for the people.
Yeah, you know, and that's a great point. You know, we take the guessing out of everything. It literally, like when we lay out a nutrition plan, it is what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. We make it so elementary. You know, I think people try to overcomplicate it. When you make it really easy, then no matter who you are, you can understand it. And then we utilize foods and whatnot that you can get at any grocery store pretty much in the entire world. You know, and to go back on the workouts wise, I always tell a couple stories about the customization level of what we do. So she worked with a girl in India that wanted to use her horse and a bag of sand in her program. There is no software programmer out there that you can put a bag of sand and a horse in to make a program. Just recently during COVID, everybody has had to do the at-home workouts. And this guy from Ireland wrote me and he said, "Hey man, all I have is a 20-pound weighted vest in kilograms. I don't know what 20 comes down to, but anyways, it was 20-pound weighted dumbbell, and all he had is one." And so I'm like, okay, one 20-pound dumbbell, and this guy has about 60, 70 pounds to lose, and this guy is already down about 20 pounds so far with one dumbbell, and so, I like to have more variety than that, but, just to make the point that we can fully customize it to that particular level, but going back on nutrition and the workouts, we know for the success to be what it needs to be, that people need it to be as easy as possible to understand. They still got to make the changes. They still got to follow it. And then the second part of it is to have access to us. So 7 days a week, being able to email us, and literally we work 7 days a week. So we respond very quickly and just answer every question that they have. We have weekly updates that we ask for, but they can write us 10 times a week if they need to. And sometimes it's just about letting go of what's going on in their mind. These people go through a lot of hard things like all of us have. And sometimes it's just an outlet to be able to kind of let that go to an individual that they trust and care about. And then we give good advice back. And I think the thing that Diana and I are best at is really brainwashing people into believing in themselves. Like, that's what we're strongest at, because nutrition and workouts is not rocket science. Getting into someone to help them to believe in themselves is one of the most powerful things that can be done.
Well, I think part of the reason that I loved your program was not that it was, incredibly scientific and just incredibly informative, tons of information. But honest to God, it was when I saw your whole entire story, right? That is what I'm like, you'll hear people, I work 7 days a week. We've all been in gyms. We've all been around trainers. You work 7 days a week because you care.
Yeah, that's right. We're driven as much as we are. I always tell people, like, we got married in 2011 and we worked on our wedding day. On our honeymoon, when we went to Hawaii, we worked, it was just like, it was one of those situations that, like, our passion is so driven off of helping other people transform their lives. And I think that's why HitchFit has been so successful and the clients have been so successful. We almost are that initial push for people, that they don't want to let us down almost early on because of how much the passion's there. And then it transitions to not being about us, but not wanting to let themselves down.
That is so impressive. And one of the things I want to talk about is, again, the psychology, right? You guys are good at getting people to buy in the program, but there's so many people out there that they'll hear about a workout program, and it's about the weightlifting, it's about the diet, and it's about the struggle there. You know what never gets talked about, though, is what does it feel like in the morning? You wake up, you get out of the shower, and you're like, dang. Now, I'm speaking for a friend, but it's not quite that way in my house right now, but it is going to be in 12 weeks from now, you promised. But it's a feel-good feeling. I know when we go to Vegas, my wife is just in ridiculously good shape, but when we go to Vegas, I can sit there in that lawn chair thinking, man, I wish I would have spent an extra 2 or 3 weeks at the dieting aspect. It's a feel-good feeling to look good. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. As someone who, I have a 50-pound weight loss transformation of my own, and I remember what it felt like to wake up and to try clothes on and have to go through 3 or 4 outfits because I just didn't feel like I looked good in anything. And, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would be mad at myself and I would say mean things to myself. And it wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good feeling every day to just wake up and look like I didn't want to go out of my house or go out of my room, because I lived on a cruise ship at that time, but I didn't want to go out because I I was embarrassed, and so the difference from that to there's a freedom that comes, especially I think from a woman's perspective, there's a freedom to waking up in the morning and walking into your closet and picking out an outfit and not even having to worry about, is this going to look good on me? Just putting it on and going. And I know there's a freedom to that. I work with a lot of business executive women too. And for them to be able to go into their closet and just quickly grab something and know that they're going to look good, it's a real feeling of freedom. So I would say there's a lot to that,
And from a male's perspective, I think from as young an age, at least for me personally, as young as age as I can remember, you see these like action movie stars and these wrestlers and like all these really amazing physiques. And, and I dealt with a lot of personal insecurity when I was young, of being kind of the other direction of being thin and whatnot. But to get to the point, it's like you get to wake up and you look in the mirror, and what you see in the mirror is actually legit in shape. Because sometimes guys in general will look in the mirror and be like, they suck their stomach in real quick and they're like, I still look good. They puff up. I mean, I hear this from guys all the time. And then we take those before pictures and the reality hits of going, oh my goodness, like I am not where I need to be. Like what has happened to me? Life and kids and family and work and stress, all the things that we hear on a daily basis. But when it comes down to it, transformation in general is kind of like you're now in a cloud. You can't see clearly. When we transform you, you end up seeing what life is really all about. You actually take control and you can see clear, and you're like, why did I not do this sooner? Like, this is what it feels like to feel amazing and to look amazing.
Thank you guys for being brutally honest, because, it's always, we are always on that outward experience first, right? And then, but you have a sentence inside your website, and it was talking about, you love the outward change, but it's the inward change that makes all the difference. And it is. I mean, when you look good, you're doing more things with your kids. You're more active in general. You're more out in the public, which is going to enhance whatever business it is you're in. I mean, there is overwhelming positivity to looking good on the outside, but it's actually the inside stuff that really bubbles over. And I mean, talk about how being in shape, both of you guys, and your experience with how that actually enhanced your business or enhanced your relationships.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, one of the things we say at HitchFit, like when people walk into the gyms now, there's thousands of before and afters. That's our wallpaper. And we always tell people the picture is kind of the icing on the cake to the changes that happened on the inside for this person and the ripple effect of positive that it had in every aspect of their lives. So that internal change is just, it's truly, I mean, it's the most important, it's the most empowering thing. For me personally, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if I hadn't decided to make that change for myself. My life would not be what it was if I had decided to stay stuck where I was 50 pounds ago. HitchFit would not be a thing. I would have not been able to help, thousands of people transform their lives. I wouldn't have met Micah. I wouldn't be sitting here today. My entire course of my life, I don't know what it would have been like. Not necessarily that it would have been bad, but it would not have been this. And this is what I feel is walking out my purpose and walking out what I'm supposed to be doing in life. So for me, it changed completely everything.
I want to talk about, I want two stories from each of you. Just one person that you trained that changed everything.
Do you want to start first?
Okay. So there's two that are really impactful to me, but I'll speak about one of them. There's a guy named Rob, and I met Rob quite a few years ago, and before he started working with me. Just to kind of sum him up, he was the fat funny guy. He was that guy in crowds and circles. He's an amazing barbecuer, actually a competition level barbecuer. And just a guy that just always had a smile on his face, huge heart and whatnot. The issue was he also had a 51-inch stomach. You're talking 40% body fat. He was on a path that, was going to be really deadly. So him and his wife had gone to Mexico, and he had a health scare, a scare that almost killed him in Mexico. His blood pressure raised tremendously. They fortunately were able to get some meds in time, and he came down. You see, his whole approach to an all-inclusive, Mexico trip was to eat and drink as much as humanly possible. That was his idea of that. And it almost literally killed him. He had nobody in his family on the male side that had lived past the age of 60. They had all obesity-related issues. So this man was on a trajectory that was going to kill him, and he almost died. 1 month later, he comes into HitchFit, and he says, he sits down with me, and we had known each other a little bit. And I mean, I was just so brutally honest with him, almost to the point where he had taken it kind of offensively. But I knew exactly what I was going to do, and I knew exactly how I was going to trigger him mentally. Because if what I said hurt his feelings, I was not worried about offending him. I was worried about telling him the truth, because no one in his life was telling him the truth. And so he ended up coming back the next day, and we ended up working out. Now, keep in mind, he had a trainer at a different gym that he had been with, that he was training 3 times a week with. He gained 7 pounds during that year process, because he would work out. The guy was a nice trainer, not necessarily his fault in particular, more of a system issue. And then he would go right back to eating and fast food and barbecue and beer. That was his life, right? He would even turn a treadmill on. So his wife thought he was actually doing the treadmill, but he'd be eating and then, watching the treadmill go as he watched TV. Like, this was Rob. And so I got into his head like no other. And I said, hey, man, your wife did not sign up for this. That's the reality of the situation. I needed to find what his underlying motivation was, and we were going to do everything we could to help save his life. We work with a lot of people to change their bodies. They want to look good in a bikini, whatnot. And then we work with people that is true saving. And so we ended up working together. Fast forward over the course of about a year and a half, he dropped 100 pounds at 51 years old, got on stage in Connecticut in the transformation category. This was something that he wanted to do once he got to a good place, and then he wanted to get to great. He ended up getting abs at 51, 52 years old and won the whole show. 82 competitors, he won the whole show. Now he's a transformation coach at HitchFit. It changed his life inside and out, and that is one of the most impacting stories that I've worked with.
What did his wife say?
Well, his wife went through transformation too, but their lives changed dramatically in almost every humanly possible way. Their vacations were completely different. I remember they met us. We all had gone out to Cancun. We really loved Tulum down in Mexico, and we went down there, and I said, you guys got to come and hang with us in Tulum one day. So they come down. There's a really cool gym down there. We worked out. He's shirtless, getting his pump on and everything else. And he just, even to this day, almost once a week at least, the guy either hugs me or at least tells me, like, Micah, like, you saved my life. And I said, Rob, you saved your own life. You just took the guidance, and and he's kept it off, and he still looks good, and he's doing good. But their marriage changed dramatically too. I'm talking from an intimacy standpoint to just the things that they do for activities now. They just took custody of 2 little babies as well. So there's no way that he could have done that being the weight he was at. I mean, their whole life changed, and it was amazing to watch.
Not even to mention just probably his health. I mean, where his health was at to now, he's got to be, he's going to live. He's going to outlive everybody in his family probably.
That's right. The choices he made is going to keep his life running on longer. So is what a blessing to work with.
Diana, that's going to be tough to one up that one.
Yours is good.
So several years ago, I had shared a transformation story, and I had this woman write to me. She was 58 years old at the time. Her name is Vicky, and she had seen her friend's transformation, and she wrote to me and she said, I want to make change, but I don't know if I can do this. Am I too old to do this? And I was like, no, of course you're not too old. Like, you're never too old to like make some kind of positive change. So she signed up for an online plan, and I worked with her for, I think it was a 16-week plan for her first one. We lost about 20, 25, 30 pounds in her first thing. And she lives here in Kansas City. So we were able to meet for her after pictures. That was the first time that I was able to meet her in person. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to be 60. I want to take this to the next level. And she's like, I want to do a competition. She'd been through abusive marriages in the past. So she'd been with a husband that basically told her she could not do anything like that. So it was this dream that she'd had literally her whole life that she'd never been able to fulfill. And I was like, well, heck yeah, like, let's do it. Let's go at 60. So we went through next level transformation. She ended up ultimately with about a 50-pound loss. And she stepped on stage. She did the transformation division. She got top 5 in the transformation division. She was just so thrilled with this. So I said, after someone goes through transformation, we say, write up your story. If you'd like to share it, we never force them to share, but I was like, this is so powerful of what you've done. And she was so excited to share. So she sends me her story, and, I have all her pictures. I'm excited to piece everything together. And then I start reading. Her story. And she shared some things in that story that she had never told me before. And when she signed up for her very first plan, she had been considering committing suicide. And she just felt like she was old grandma that was useless and didn't have any purpose in life anymore. And I didn't know that, until she shared that in her story. So I think for me, that was just, it was a moment that I just realized, like, we're helping people do so much more than just lose some weight, like she has a life, and she's one of our trainers now. She went and got a personal training certification, and now she's one of our trainers.
It's so impactful for a lot of these people, and then they know what it truly feels like, and they want to, they want that for other people. And so we have had a lot of coaches over the years that were first transformations, but yeah, that's a powerful story.
That's one of the crazy powerful stories. I mean, that's the entire reason that I do this stuff, for those exact stories. The difference is, though, you have an entire wall full of those stories. I mean, that even gets me all teared up, but that is just absolutely amazing. And one of the things I can tell is you guys actually get a workout of a muscle called the heart with this, don't you?
Oh, man. I mean, I would say that we probably are obsessed with doing this. I mean, obsession can be a word that looks at as a negative thing, but like, I'm obsessed with seeing people get better. And to just make that small change in someone's life that ends up changing their life in a way to go down this different path of opening this other door that they didn't think was even possible, and leading them through that path and through that doorway to become what we know they're going to become. We don't know what their body's going to look like in the end, but I sure the heck know what they're going to feel like. And I sure know that it's going to make a positive change in their life that they can go and then inspire all those people that are around them. And we've seen that over the years, and we get to use our heart a lot, and just be able to kind of fulfill what our passion is on a daily basis with all these different walks of life, from white to black to female to male, to every walk of life, young and old. It doesn't matter to us. It's about just helping people who need help.
I know this. I saw this. This is the whole reason I chose you guys for Truth Talks. It was the perfect fit for me. We're going to get into your personal story, though, because that's equally as good as the ones you've just shared. Before I leave HitchFit, though, I want people to know that I've researched it myself. It is amazing. All the information is there. If you follow the program, there's no doubt there's too many people who have had wicked amounts of success. You guys have obviously done a magnificent job setting this up. But now I want to introduce people to who you guys are, because I think that drives home something so powerful, because there are tons of people out there, drink this, do the 8-minute abs, and then you got somebody a little bit more progressive, and they found a way to do it in 7 minutes, and I'm sure there's one at 3 minutes now. But
Machines that just do it.
we're down to machines that do it. Listen, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I think everybody attests that, but I think that's what wears people out too. They fall into that. I don't have time. Which, speaking of that, how long does a workout typically last?
Well, it really depends on the person. Like usually for a beginner, a lot of times I would say a workout is going to be at least 30, 45 minutes. I mean, maybe longer than that. Someone who's more advanced, if they're training more frequently, if you're splitting up body parts, I mean, it may be just 15 to 20 minutes just hitting one body part. But, for people that have shorter amounts of time, you can get a lot of work done even in a 20-minute workout, 15 minutes. I mean, it's really about, if you've got a short time, then you put as much effort into that time as you possibly can. That's usually my advice for people.
Yeah, and the other thing is I think from day one, these people are telling us what their specific goals are and in what time frame they want to get it done. And so once we know that, then we know really how much time per day is going to be allocated. If these people have gigantic goals and I want to lose 50 pounds in 16 weeks type deal, there's going to be a lot more time that's going to be dedicated to losing, an amount like that, opposed to someone who, has 15 pounds to lose and really want to do it over a 12-week period of time. That may not allocate as much time, as far as the workouts go. So yeah, it like she said, it's kind of unique with each individual.
Basically, whatever you want to get out of is what you're going to put into it.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
We say that. We were like, hey, your choices are going to determine your success or your failure. And so you can eat whatever you want. You just got to understand that when you eat this way, you may have a consequence, either good or bad. The workout too, if you're going and you're just like walking on a treadmill real slow, well, the result is going to be not a whole lot. You get on a treadmill and you run like a lion's chasing you, your result's going to be really good. Just don't fall off.
I love that analogy because it's so true. So true. The one last topic I want to hit on, though, which I think is incredible. Every excuse starts with, how much does it cost, right?
Yeah.
Can you guys speak to that? I mean, I know it's a little self-serving, but it's incredibly cheap and it's a one-time deal, right?
Yeah, and it actually, like our most popular plan, which is the 12-week lose weight, is $267, and then we usually have some kind of like coupon codes or something like that. So they start from there, anywhere up to about 500, just depending on the level of plan, the length of plan, that type of thing. And we've had people say before, oh, it's so cheap, why do you do it for that? But for some people, that's a big investment. And so we've always wanted to try to keep it in a place where they are having to place some value on it, because if someone isn't making some type of investment into something, if it's just free, they don't value it as much. So we want them to value it, but we also want to make it something that is doable financially for a wider variety of people. And so that's why we've kept it in that, in that price range. But our goal is always to, over deliver. They expect one thing, and I always want them to come out feeling they got far more than they expected they would get.
And you get the plan, but I think the powerful thing is like, no matter what question you have, we're always there. It's not an automated bot that's doing some automatic response to someone's question. Like, we're taking the time each day to actually respond. And a lot of these people are connected to us on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever too. And so we're always there, constantly just helping lift them up and educate them through the period of time that they're transforming.
Yeah, and I think one more important thing about that, it is a one-time payment, but we don't have a ticking time clock for people. So sometimes people sign up and they're like, do I have to start right now? And I'm like, I want you to feel prepared, and your start date is when you tell me, okay, I'm ready. But then I've also had people come back, 3 or 4 years later, and they're like, I started, I didn't stop, can I start again? They can always start again. We never charge people extra if they just want the email support with us. If they want to start fresh, I just say, take some new pictures, take some new measurements, send them to me, and we'll just start tracking from there. So that's the thing, is like, it's not okay, your time's up. Like, the most important thing for us is their success. So if that happens now, or if it's a couple years before they're really ready, and then they're like, hey, it's go time. Great, it's go time. Let's do this.
I want to actually take a little bit of the Micah approach on this to my listeners, though. It's the beauty of having two different things here. But, listen, I spend $2,500 a month on my health insurance, and it just does nothing but sit there and, in the event that you get sick. It is cheap. We need to call it what it is for what you get out of your life, out of your physique, out of the inward things that you talk about. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. As a matter of fact, it's criminal that we don't have a program where everyone needs to do it or has to do it. And again, no program that I've ever seen is as open and as honest and as caring as your guys' program. And so I wanted to throw that in there before we got into your story, because honestly, your entire program to change your entire life is less than half of one of my 1 month payments for my health insurance that we almost never use. So let's call it like it is. It is the cheapest thing you can possibly do to change your entire life.
And we always hear, the greatest wealth is our health. We've heard that before, and it's so true. The best defense that we have against viruses and different attacks on the body is getting ourselves as healthy as possible. When we do that, then our immune system is raised, our metabolism is raised. We're just at a place that we can, just operate at its top level. If we're unhealthy, the body's always trying to get itself healthy and is there trying to fight other things that are going on constantly. You get yourself right, and no matter what is going on in your life, for the most part, it can help defend you.
100% true. Oh my God, just so true. All right, now we get to meet you guys. Diana, you get to go first.
So I was born and raised in Vermont. I discovered fitness after I graduated from college, and I realized that was the one thing that could hold my attention that I truly loved doing. But I also loved traveling. So in 2003, 2004, I wanted to get my dream job, and I ended up getting a job from Norwegian Cruise Lines as the fitness director. So dream job, fitness, travel, all balled into one. So excited. So I got on the ship, and over the course of the year that I was working on the ship, it was cruise ship food. There was the crew bar that I frequented very regularly. We were in ports like we were in Cozumel, so it's cervezas and, chips and guac. And so I started gaining weight. I'm in fitness clothes every day because I'm constantly teaching classes to all of the people on the ship. So I really didn't notice that the weight gain was it was coming on pretty fast, but my clothes were stretchy. So I really didn't, it didn't occur to me because I wasn't having to constantly buy new clothes. My clothes were just kind of getting tighter. And there was just one day, there was also some internal stuff going on. Like the cruise ship was amazing, but it's also, there's all these people around you, but you're still kind of lonely. Like there's not people come and go all the time, whether that's crew or whether that's passengers. You're not seeing your family. So I remember it was Christmas one year and I was on the cruise ship, which was fun, but I really missed my family. And I started a really bad binge eating behavior while I was on the ship. And so I would take food into my cabin because I was alone in my cabin, and I would stuff myself at night with just terrible, terrible food. And then I would feel disgusting the next day. Anyway, one day I had a little scale in the gym, and I stepped on the scale and it went up over 175 pounds, which for me was, I had never been 175 pounds in my life. And it scared me. Like I jumped off the scale and I was like terrified because I was like, oh my goodness, like what am I doing to myself? And you've got to understand, I'm the fitness director and I am working out all day. I was under that mindset impression that I could eat whatever I wanted as long as I was working out, and it was not happening. And that scale was going up and up and up, and I was starting to get to that point where I would look in the mirror and just be disgusted with myself and frustrated, and I felt very out of control. So it was a scary feeling because I felt like there wasn't anything that I could do to control it. When I got off the cruise ship after that year, my little sister saw me for the first time, and like she didn't say anything, but her jaw like dropped because I had gained like 40 pounds in that time on the ship. And she didn't say anything. I have to make that clear. She never said anything. It was the look on her face, and I was like, oh crap, what have I done to myself? And it took me several months before I was really just kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired. I moved to Texas to live with my older sister right after I got on the ship, and it was 4th of July in 2005, and I went out for beers. Became a personal trainer. Yay, fitness, while I'm getting wasted and eating crap. Like I feel like a fraud for that period of my life because I'm teaching health and fitness, and this is what I'm doing to myself. And 4th of July, I went to a bar and drank a bunch of beer, and then I went to McDonald's and I had a caramel sundae, and that was on 4th of July, 2005. I got up the next morning to go train clients, feeling disgusting, bloated, and a friend trainer came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Diana, I thought you said you wanted to do competitions." Like I'd already looked at the women in Oxygen magazine and was like, "Oh, I want to be like them." And it was that instant. Like I had this click that went off in my brain that I was like, what am I waiting for? Like I feel disgusting every day. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I feel. I'm not achieving these goals that I keep talking about. And I keep telling everybody, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And then my behaviors are pushing me further and further away from that. So I literally changed everything that day. I was so sick of looking in that mirror and just being disappointed and disgusted with myself. I went and I took my own before pictures that day. I found another trainer that was there to just help with accountability for me. I started trying to figure out everything I could about nutrition. And I actually had a nutrition lady that was there. She helped me start trying to figure some things out. And 18 weeks later, I started doing it. And for me, I think the most exciting thing about my transformation was the freedom, because I really felt like that the binge eating behavior that I was doing pretty much every night had control over me. Like I'd get to that point of the night and I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And then I would do it. And I would just binge eat. Like it was just going in the pantry and just shoving everything into my face. And then the next day I'd try to starve myself as long as I possibly could. And I know so many people can relate to that. It's just like, what did I do? Starve, 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 starve. Okay, I'm not going to do it again, and then binge eat. And that's what I was in, this terrible cycle. And so for me, there was the weight loss, and then there was all the other things that happened. But for me, the biggest thing about my transformation was that freedom from that behavior that I felt like controlled me. And so I would say that July 5th, 2005 was my Independence Day, because it was the day that I was finally ready to stop talking about what I wanted and to start finally doing the things that got me where I wanted.
Thank you for being so incredibly honest like that, because I think majority of us are right there. I mean, I think you definitely have the people that are significantly obese and got to do it for their health, just to live. You got to do it. And then you have the majority of the world, I think, because I mean, I can so relate to that. Maybe I am even a binge eater. I'm kind of the grazer. If it's there, I'll eat it. If it's not, I'll starve myself. It's just who I am. But I love the honesty, right? That is the part that, again, I think you're going to connect with so many people, because I think so many of us feel that way. I really do. Now we go to Skinny Boy.
Skinny Boy. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it starts. I'll go a little bit before that, because that's kind of where the story starts. As a kid, it was me and my mom growing up. For the most part, we moved a tremendous amount of time. It seemed like life was just like constantly a struggle. We had some highs that I recall, but there was a lot of negativity. Going through multiple divorces, seeing alcoholism, seeing just a lot of really brutal things. And I just recall, as young as I could remember, thinking like, I want to become more than I know and that I've seen. I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what to do, because you don't have those mentors in place for the most part. But I just knew that what I had seen and gone through was never something that I ever wanted to go through again. One of my success early on, unfortunately, came from a really painful, dark place. I was very driven based off of insecurities that I had due to being bullied when I was a kid. I wasn't bullied from kids. I was actually a pretty popular child in school, but my mom had married an individual that was just, looking back on it now, he was broken himself. And so it was his way of almost, moving it on to someone else. And he would just call me names that just, I was a pretty fragile kid. And so, it was one of those deals where it was like, it was really painful when he called me skinny and chicken legs and all these different things. And it really hurt me inside. And so a lot of my early success and reasoning on why to transform my body was because I wanted to never have someone say stuff like that ever again. And it came from a very painful place. And then there was another side, okay? So there's the insecurity side of all of that. And then I was a big Van Damme fan. Like growing up, I was like, one day I'm gonna look like that dude. That dude kicks butt and he gets really good looking women, And so like that was the initial drive when I was 17, 18 years old. In high school, I was very, very thin, 6 foot and 139 pounds, dripping wet, and I got to college and I was dealing with a whole bunch of mental situations at that point. I was dealing with some anxiety that I was having problems controlling due to a lot of stuff that we had gone through. And it was kind of starting to protrude quite a bit. And then I just happened to fall into fitness. And I remember going and working out. I went to this college that, was kind of a culture shock to me because there's just not a lot of people in my little town. It was kind of a country little town comparative to what I was used to. And I was like, what am I going to do all day? Like I study, but then like, what am I going to do after that? And so I found their gym there at the school. And I became just obsessed with training. Worked at the GNC and different supplement stores. I think I spent more time on fitness and nutrition than I did my own major, throughout that period of time in college. I'm probably double the time, and why I probably only had like a 2.75 grade point average, but I was like, I'm a 4.0 when it comes to nutrition and fitness and helping other people. And so, I dedicated my life to that. Once I started feeling better about my own physique, it started changing. But to go back on the point early on, how I was feeling inside had changed. My insecurity was getting replaced with confidence. My pain was starting to turn to love and caring and giving back. And so I saw this platform and this way of living that could help not only myself get to where I wanted to be physically and mentally, and the path that place that I didn't know how I was going to get there, that was the path. It was like that and faith, those combined helped me get to where I was. But I remember, coming back one year after I had, it was only a 1 year, but my body transformed quickly because I was just like really into it. And I had friends just going, holy smokes. And so, at 18, 19 years old, I just like all this newfound confidence in these compliments that I was getting just made me feel so good inside about who I was. So I transformed my life after college. And then it was just like, it wasn't about me anymore. Yes, I had some big goals in the fitness industry and all of that, but I was getting far more reward out of like seeing this person who was in the place that I was at, that needed just someone to give them a little push, to believe in them just a little bit, to give them some level of direction. And so from as early as I could remember, I was in college doing this, even a couple of years in before I was even a trainer, just guiding all of my friends into like living this lifestyle and trying to guilt them into not drinking enormous amounts at the clubs. And, I was the guy that would go to the clubs, but like, I was like, I have to be home by 12 o'clock to have my meal. And then I got to get up at 7 a.m. Like I was that kid at 18, 19. You talk to all my best friends. They're like, yeah, this dude's like, and I just was never a big drinker and stuff. And so, that was kind of my journey. And then, going from that 139-pound kid to fast forwarding quite a few years and becoming a world champion and stepping on stage and winning a world champion and gracing the cover of Iron Man and all of that. It was just, it's unreal. But what I'll tell people is like, when you start making choices each and every single day that is built upon making yourself better, you can really achieve anything that you want in your life, as long as you're patient and you stay disciplined and consistent with the formula that you have set.
That's why I wanted to have you guys. Both of you have these incredible stories. I mean, again, taking pain like that and transforming it into something so positive. My God, can we use that in the world today? I mean, you think about these kids that are going through some of this stuff, and I think we tend to be like, oh, you'll get through it at some point. Something will change. Something will happen. Man, fitness, it's one of the easiest things to do. We talking earlier, you can do it with a donkey and a bag of sand or something, or a one dumbbell or whatever. I mean, you can transform your entire life. We can't end this segment, though, without talking about your guys' stuff with Haiti. That is one of the most powerful stories ever.
Yeah, the Haiti situation, I mean, it's our why. It became our why. We enjoy being able to wake up every day and do what we love doing. And it's given us the ability to then give back in the way that we want. I always tell people, you don't really, find or experience pure joy until you give. And then you understand what joy is. Happiness is like this. Joy is consistent. And I think a lot of it is based off of love and giving. And so we many years ago now, what has it been, 6 or 7 years ago, this little lady ended up going to Haiti and then seeing the kids for the first time. And, she made the decision to take some kids on, and then we took some more kids on and whatnot. So I'll let her share more.
Yeah, so with Haiti, it kind of goes back way before I even met Micah. For me, like, I always felt like, I hear a lot of people say that you should give back, like when you've achieved whatever level of success, you should start giving back. And I by God's grace, somehow I've thought it differently. I thought, if we want to have success, then we give back when it's uncomfortable. And you start doing that before the success comes, because I feel like God will bless that. And so we had started sponsoring some children in Haiti through an organization it's called Mission E4 now. They're based in New Hampshire, and it was an organization my father was connected to, and now my stepmom. And they met in Haiti. And so it had a special place for me, because it was, my stepmom is amazing. She's brought so much joy into our lives. So I wanted to go on a trip to Haiti. And I remember writing in my journals before that first trip. And I was like, it would be really cool if we could maybe if we had a little school in Haiti that was growing alongside HitchFit, because we were just starting. And I was like, I just wish that there was something that we could have that like we grew with and we could support as part of our journey too. And so 2012, I went down. He was nervous for me to go the first time, just worried about, the date. I mean, it's not necessarily safe. But I was like, I'm feeling called. Like, I feel like this is the year I'm supposed to go. So we went down, and the orphanage that we were working with was starting a school, and it was a school that was for the kids that couldn't afford to go to school. Education in Haiti is everything, because if they can't get an education, then a lot of times they can't get a job and they can't provide money. And then so if you can get a child an education, it's a game changer for their entire life and often for their family. It's, in the US, it's like, we expect that we should be able to go to school. There, it is like a privilege to be able to go to school and get an education, and they want it. And so they had these 25 little children, and they were starting the school, and they were like, oh, we're going to do the profiles for the kids. Like, do you want to come and watch this and, video some stuff so that you can take it back and, share with people in case anybody's interested in sponsoring. And so I had my little video camera, and I'm recording the children, and they're coming up and they're holding their little signs. And so they're holding the little signs, and at first I'm thinking, maybe I can just take on 4 or 5 more of these. Micah will be fine with that if I just say, let's sponsor 4 or 5 more kids. And so they keep coming, and they keep coming. And as they kept coming, I just kept thinking, how can I choose? How can I choose just 4 or 5 of them? And I didn't say anything. And there was the ride back to the house that we were staying at, and I was just real quiet. I was just praying and praying, and I was just like, God, what are you asking me to do? Because we're still living, we weren't in where we are now as far as the business goes. And I knew that 25 children at that time was going to be a stretch for us financially if it was a monthly commitment. And I had just, there's not a lot of times that like I really feel like God says something so specific to me. But on that ride home, he said, these are your kids. These are your children. And he promised me that day that if I would just say yes and be obedient, that he would always provide for them. And so I let our team leader know, I was like, I want all of them. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, like I want all of them. And then I'll deal with Micah when I get home. But so that became our school. And then when I got home and I told Micah, and his response was just priceless. He was just like, well, I guess we need more clients. And it was just beautiful. And then the next year, the school had grown, and I felt that I was supposed to do the same thing. So because that was the thing, was like, just continue being obedient and just have that faith. Like, it's that faith. And I mean, I'm telling you, God has remained so faithful to that promise, because through everything we have gone through, the openings and closings of gyms and hard times and the shutdown of the gyms from COVID and like all of these challenges over the last 11 years. And there has never been a single month that the money that we needed to send for those kids wasn't there. Yeah.
We have a huge poster at our gyms of each and every one of the kids that we have a blessing to be able to sponsor. And, it's a part of the tour of HitchFit. People come there because they want to transform their bodies and lives. But I said, you guys are a part of this, because at least 10% of every dollar that's made at the gym, before all the bills and everything else, goes to Haiti every single month, at least 10%. And so, for us, I want, as a community of HitchFit, them to feel like they're a part of that during their period of time. Also, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go and meet the kids, and I didn't really understand. You see the commercials, you see videos and whatnot, but until you actually experience it, you have no idea like what level of living they actually are in. Like, they just have nothing. They have nothing, and there's no opportunity, and so for us, our heart's always been there, because we wanted to just give a light of opportunity to them. And the whole goal is for them to be the next generation in Haiti and bring Haiti up, not to get them smart and get them out to another country, and so I got to meet all of these kids, and we had a blast. They sang to us, and it was just one of the most moving periods of time. Then we got to play, and they were jumping all over us, and we were flexing, and we were doing all sorts of stuff. And it was just really an amazing deal. And there's a guy that kind of runs as security for everyone while they're there. And he's like, I'd like to take you to my gym in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, right? And so, I'm pretty sure we were the first Caucasian people to go to this gym. So we go down this like alley, and I got this whole thing videoed. It's a really epic video. And we're going in, and there's no roof. We go in, and these guys are just putting it down. Guys and girls putting it down, but they're using wheel axles. They're using all this makeshift stuff to like we didn't know the language. They speak a different language there, but fitness was universal language, and there was this like respect thing. They needed to see, we started training really hard, and then it was just like, then they needed to take the picture at the end with all the big guys, and it was just really cool. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such an incredible story. I mean, not only you guys are just beautiful on the outside, you're beautiful on the inside, and we want to, at True Talks, we want to drive as many people to change their lives as possible in every aspect. And I do believe that it starts with a you, right? The better you are, the better you look, the better you feel, changes every circumstance around you. And so I know you guys are going to do a little offering, which is something that we want everybody in our group of listeners to take note of and see if they can literally find the monies to do it, which I promise you can, because it's $7.14 a day. This is to change your entire life. That's one fast food meal a day that you're giving up to completely transform your entire life. So I hope that we do you guys service. I hope that we get a whole lot of people to come to your site to transform their lives, transform everything about their lives, including their outward appearance. I'm super stoked to kind of partner up with you guys. I hope this is, again, another blessing in your life, because you guys have been faithful. You've done everything right. And so I hope this really, really increases whatever it is you're doing.
Well, we really appreciate you, man, and this opportunity too. And for all the viewers out there that are ready to transform their lives, we're here to help, you know, and if that's something that you want to do, we'll give away a $50 promo code off of any of our programs. Use Truth50. That'll save you $50 on the program. And just be ready. Be ready for the changes that need to be placed, and just take the ride. And it's an awesome ride. There's going to be ups and downs and lefts and rights, but through it, you come out stronger.
Here's the big reveal. So, of course, I'm signing up. I got a toe problem right now, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't even care. I'm signing up. We're doing it. I'm going to bring you guys back in 12, 13, 14 weeks, whatever producer Chad can get that in there. I'm going to do it for you. I mean, I feel like I owe it to you. You guys are just amazing people. And if I don't do it myself, then what's the point in Truth Talk? So I'm signing up. You're going to see it come Monday, and it's on. I better look that good in the tank. That's all I'm telling you.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't follow, I'll figure what your address is and I'll show it to your house.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for doing this. My God, it's just, you guys are incredible, incredible people. I can't say that enough. HitchFit, you got to go there. You got to check it out. These are amazing people inside and out. Look different, feel different. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
So thank you guys for following. Means the absolute world to us, and this is probably the best experience of my life. To be able to give back the blessings that God has poured down on us, and giving that back. These kids are amazing. There is some kids still that need to be sponsored in this school here. So if you have the heart and you want to help, just get a hold of us, and there's monthly sponsorships that you can do. So we love you guys. Thank you guys again for following.